This is a View from the Bridge, official podcast of the Belfast Giants for kingdomofthegiants.com. Today's Tuesday, the 4th of February, 2025. My name is Patrick Smith. I'm joined by the Belfast Giants statistician, Mr. David McJimsey, and the local hockey legend that is number 16, Simon Kitchen. Over the next hour or more, we'll bring you through all the news and views of the Belfast Giants from the last week. We're live or on demand on YouTube, X, Facebook. You can also listen to us through all the really good podcast providers. If you're watching live on any of the platforms, get involved with the comments in the chat box. We're always keeping an eye on that. You might see your comment on screen. Fights in Fife, defeating Dundee. An eventful weekend for the Belfast Giants. 2 points from the 4 on offer this week, which brings 2 home games in the forthcoming weekend to try and consolidate our position at the top of the league. We've spoken over the last few weeks about Kieran Long's hot streak, so let's chat to the man himself. He'll be along later. And with Guildford in the arena this weekend, let's hear from one of their D-men that we know well. Travis Brown will join us. There's a lot of talking points around the league between Clan, Fife, and whatever else. And we've got the Player of the Month. Mr. McJimsey, you doing well?
Not bad, Paddy. An eventful weekend at the rinks, so let's get tucked in so we can make this lesson more.
Well, let's try. So you doing, mate? How was your holiday?
I'm all right. Yeah, it was brilliant. Just a nice wee break to get away and have a drink or two. But yeah, weather was great.
It didn't show, mate. It didn't show.
Oh, mate, that's Pete's fault. Drinking beside the pool all day is not a good idea. And then going out for dinner. So, but yeah, do you know what? It's been a long time since I was in Tenerife, and where the old part of the strip used to be is awful. But the new part with all the nice bars and restaurants and stuff like that's a hell of a lot better. So we spent most of our time up there. But yeah, weather was fantastic, and it's definitely something that I'm going to be planning every January. If we don't have any games for a weekend, I'll be gone.
It's a long time since I was last in Tenerife, but I'm glad you had a good time, mate.
It was funny. I was sitting on the day before we came home, I think it was, and I sent Davy a photograph, just genuinely on the coast and where we're sitting having a pint, and he came back to me immediately and went, "You're sitting in what do you call it, Davy?"
Oh, I can't remember. Sumo bar or something on it.
Moana bar was it or something like that?
Right.
Sumo bar, thanks, Davy. But it was hilarious. Like, I mean, he told me exactly where I was sitting, yeah, the view was fantastic, and again the sun was shining, so yeah, it was really good.
I can't get much worse than that, mate. Can't get much worse than that. Right, well, while you were away, buddy, the Belfast Giants undertook 2 games in Scotland, had their own bit of a sojourn to somewhere sunnier. Not sunnier in the slightest. And they took on the Fife Flyers and the Dundee Stars, a win in one, not without a bit of feistiness, and a defeat in the other. Let's get cracking into that first game against the Fife Flyers. And as we normally do now, let's hear the reaction of the coaches.
I'm glad it's over. Obviously, we started the game all right. We had some big power play goals. Controlled the majority of that game, obviously. Penalties being 8-2, I find that ridiculous. But it is what it is. We give them, I thought the first 10 minutes of the third period, I thought we were very good. It looked like Fife didn't want to be there. And then we give them a freebie with that breakaway and the empty net goal. Then we take 2 penalties and they get 2 power play goals and they're right back in the hockey game. Obviously the crowd gets into it. Our guys didn't handle that well. That being said, obviously a very big goal by JJ there to get that done in regulation. So, I mean, we're not going to take too much out of that game other than the lesson that you got to play for a full 60 and you got to be prepared that things can turn on you fairly quickly, because that was a dead in the water game there in the third period. Fife looked like they wanted to go home. You give them some life, and there you go, almost heading into overtime. So obviously exciting for your fan base, not so exciting for me, but it's 2 points, it's 2 points.
I'll say what I told you guys. The tale of 2 teams. At times we looked like we weren't ready to play, we weren't ready to compete, and then at other times, as we showed later in the game, ready to go, ready to battle, ready to race. So moving forward, we want to be that team that started the third period, actually started the second period too. So we've got to be a little more consistently of playing the right way and playing like the proper way and playing like how good we can play. But overall, Belfast probably deserved to win. They probably could put the game away 6, 7, 8. Giannis made some big saves. And then good learning lesson for us that we want to hang around games. Well, we don't want to be hanging around games. We want to be dictating games. But if you can stay in the fight there and do a late push, we can scrape something out of the game. So honestly, really happy with the guys' great effort.
Belfast Giants goal scores. It was a hat-trick for JJ Pickenich, including the game-winning goal. Cole Boudre, Elijah Barriga, David Goodwin and Scott Conway with the others. For the Fife Flyers, it was Stallard, Carosa, Sishi, Craig and Height. Your goalkeeper for the Belfast Giants was Jackson Whistle, which we will deal with, no doubt, in a few minutes' time. But Davy, a good start for the Belfast Giants, but that third period was difficult to watch.
I think that both coaches pretty much nailed exactly what happened in the game. The Giants started well, got that early power play goal through JJ Pickenich, a really nice move on the power play, and really had good control of the game. Even with Fife coming out at the start of the second period and getting a goal, still think we'll control the game, and we went into that, what was it, 5-2 lead maybe with, let me see, 20, how long to go when they started scoring? 12 minutes, and they scored in a bunch, and it came from a little bit of a mistake, communication mistake, and our heads got a wee bit turned, and as their coach Johnny said, the crowd got into it, and we lost the run of ourselves a wee bit, and all of a sudden we've let them tie the game up. But not call it a mistake from Forrest, but he's gone in behind his own net and he's tried to play it hard around the half wall, and JJ Pickenich just taken off on a quick wrist shot. It's gone in under him to give us the go ahead again, and then we're able to close it out 7-5. Not an ideal scoreline after being so well in command of the game, but just at this stage, 2 points is very, very important. I'm not sure what can be taken out of the game apart from the 2 points. I think there'll be a lot of soul searching probably done on the Saturday night itself with certain boys, but how that was allowed to happen. But it happened, and we were able to still come out on the right side. I suppose that's the major positive, that we went down, but we were able to fight our way back.
When I look at that third period, and like you say as Davey says, well, when the goal glut starts to happen, you start to wonder, what's going on here, and it maybe had a bit. We'll talk about the Dundee game obviously after this. It maybe had a little bit of a hangover going into that game as well. But ultimately, you do have to walk away and say we got the 2 points. But there are certainly some learning points from this game.
I think there's a hell of a lot of learning from this game. Johnny Curran mentioned it in his interview there after the game. We should have been 7, 8, 9, maybe even double figures up by the end of the second period, and we didn't. I just don't think we executed well enough. You're 4-1 up going into this third period. You get a quick goal in the third to make it 5-1, and then we just switched off. I just didn't think there was the urgency that Adam was looking for, and we talk about momentum every bloody week in this thing, it's people. Some people just don't understand how big the momentum actually is, and it's little flicks. I mean, look at that goal there from Stallard. He basically throws it towards net. It just sticks a stick out, takes an unbelievable bounce over Jackson's pad when he's going one way, and he obviously couldn't react to go the other way. But their goals are basically down to our mistakes. We had switched off, in my opinion. I just didn't think we were engaged enough, and we thought the game was over. 5-1 up. Let's get ready for tomorrow night's game. That's certainly what it looked like. Adam, I know, wasn't happy about the whole situation. You talk about, you send out your top line with 30 seconds to go, 40 seconds to go. JJ gets that goal, as Davey, basically described very well, and it's just to be honest, Boris coughed that one up. That's absolutely on him. And even the next goal from Scott Conway, which is a great bit of skill by Collins, to chip it ahead and then go top shelf. That's Forrest's responsibility. He's got to save that as well. But I just thought, the bottom line is it's important for us to keep winning. We get that goal at the end of the second power play goal by JJ, which is one of the prettiest power play goals you'll see this season. And you basically get that 4-1 lead, and I'm going to be honest, I thought it was over. I genuinely did. And then we get that fifth goal. I honestly thought that we could have went on and absolutely pumped them. but we just didn't want it enough. And fair play to Fife, they came back into it, and we ended up probably getting a little bit of luck at the end, and that goal getting the game winner for JJ and his hat trick when Voris screwed up with trying to throw it around the wall.
Silver helmets. I never really clocked that on the night. Silver helmets on that game. Was there a reason for that?
I think the boys really like them. So, we're there was a plan in place when we first wore them. That changed very quickly when the guys really liked wearing them. And now they decided to take them on the road and wear them on the Saturday with a black uniform, which obviously got the silver trim. I think they look fantastic.
Yeah, they do. That sort of puts pay to Davy having one on the mantelpiece behind him.
I love one Paddy, but sure.
Yeah, one of the outcomes. Well, I'm going to flick forward on the highlights here because obviously the real talking point that also came out of this game was what happened after the final buzzer and the coming together that also ultimately led to what was a goalie fight, quite a one-sided goalie fight, instigated by Voris, and that got him a suspension through Dops having instigated it and travelled the length of the ice. Likewise, it was Kieran Craig who got a game suspension for spearing Davy, but this is all spurred probably from a bit of frustration from Fife, a bit of a frustration from the Belfast Giants as well. But and I think both Craig and Voris got what they deserved.
I think it's more just someone being a wee bit sneaky. Just as the buzzer goes, he skates past whistle and he has the opportunity to lay a bit of lumber on him, so he does. And then obviously everything that happens after that happens. And for us, because I guess if you've got a goalie at one end of the ice and you've got 6-on-5 at the other end of the ice, he has to make the numbers up. And he did skate in and he wanted a piece of Jackson and he got his dinner.
It's one of those as well. It's that you can see anybody who's watching on our video coverage that Jackson's getting involved there, and Voris wants a piece of this. He doesn't want the goalkeeper being part of it. He comes all the way down the ice. He gets fed his dinner by Jackson. He gets the shirt over the top of his head. But the other gets with a bit of me is everything else on the ice stops. When a goalie fights happen, everybody stops to watch it because the rarity of it means that everybody's just like, here, look.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, he skates 200 feet to get involved in a fight with Jackson, makes a dick out of himself, gets one punch to the head, and he goes down. The bottom line is, I think he's trying to take the attention away from himself from the last two goals that he got conceded, and try and get the fans basically back on his side because he lost them that game after being back to 5-5 and the team working so hard. So good to see Jackson stand up for himself, obviously. And no longer got a 5 as well for something, didn't he? I think he got a 5 for fighting and or 5 for something. But there was no need for it. We shouldn't have been in that position. And thankfully he wasn't suspended or there wasn't anything else for Jackson after that, which is obviously the right decision. But I mean, the other thing about it is I didn't realize it was 8-2 on the penalties front.
Yeah.
And when until I didn't see the game on the night, and I actually watched it back on Sunday. But
Adam comments about that in his post game.
Yeah, it was a bit bizarre.
Oh, I probably should have given you a heads up on this stat, Davey, but off the top of my head, I can't think of another 5 for fighting to your goalie.
For us?
For us.
Let's see. Andrew Dixon had a famous one with Ben Bounds. Mike Menard, formerly this parish, fought at Edinburgh Capital. I would have the list if I had my other laptop.
If I'd given you a heads up.
It wasn't Radowski, was it?
Can't remember.
Cody Radowski or something you called him. Edinburgh Capital. Mike Menard fought him. I'd be struggling to think of another goalie fight apart from that.
Yeah, fair enough.
Definitely those two. And Mike Menard might have got there was a bench brawl as well. Maybe Newcastle at one time. And might have been Menard as well. Don't know whether he got, but Mark Morrison started all, had a fight. Graham Walton had a fight. George Wada was fighting. Derek Campbell. I have a notion the goalies might have been involved that night as well, but there's definitely 2 or 3 that come to mind.
A rarity.
A rarity. Yeah.
Entertaining. But that was a 7-5 victory for the Belfast Giants, and they moved on. They moved up the road to face the Dundee Stars, and not the best of results there. It was a 3-1 defeat for the Belfast Giants. Let's hear from the coaches.
I'm so proud of the guys. I mean, we grinded one out last night on home ice against a good Guildford team, then tonight against the best team in the league in Belfast. We found a way to win tonight. We just grinded one out again. The best team in the league, like I said, and the guys never quit. Even when they pulled one back during the third period, we responded again with a quick goal there to make it 3-1, and we held on there at the end with some key blocks, key clearances, great saves by Rich there to keep us going. Overall team performance this weekend, 120 minutes, or 125, we should say, with the overtime last night. We found a way to get 4 points and massive in the standings for us.
Well, not good enough, clearly. I thought Dundee was very good. Obviously, Sabo had a great game. We didn't score on our chances. They did. They got those 2 runs into their 2 freebies, I like to call them, there in the first periods. Puts us behind the 8 ball. I thought Dundee was battling all night. They were winning a lot of the foot races, a lot of the stick battles in and around the nets on both ends. Did we do enough to fight back? I mean, no, because we didn't score. They had opportunities, we didn't score. And that third one, obviously, that one kind of takes the wind out of the sail a little bit. I thought, again, it would have been nice to maybe get one with the goalie out and make a push, but not good enough. We had a lot of too many players tonight just not have very good nights, and you become a very average hockey team, especially when you're playing against a fast, skilled Dundee team that's working like they were, and we didn't match it.
Just before you go,
Go.
I have to say that former friend of the show, Mark Lefebvre, did text earlier to say he was available tonight to come and talk about the game. No, I blocked him. No, that's it.
Does he believe he burned?
Hi, Mark.
Big shout to the former friend of the show, Mark Lefebvre. Goal scorers for the Dundee Stars, Spencer Nass, McDonald, and Alberga. Goal scorer for the Belfast Giants was Zach Galambos, Jackson Whistle, and Nets. I said it this when we were talking there about the Fife, and I did feel that we came out quite lethargic at the start. We go 2 goals down in a space of a dozen minutes. We call a timeout to try to recover, but there seemed to be a bit of a hangover from the third period on Fife.
Yeah, I mean, this is summed up very, very easily. Dundee played better, deserved what they got. Probably maybe should have scored a couple more against us. Jackson made a couple of big saves and throughout the game, and Sabal was the man of the match. That's basically the bottom line. We could probably still play it tonight and find it difficult to get one past them. It was a difficult night. They come along every once in a while. You can't be too critical on the boys. They're 8-2 in the last 10 games. They've played a lot of hockey in the last month or 10 weeks at least. But, I think you'll get a reaction this weekend against Guildford, because Adam would not have been happy, and he would have let them know about that after that game. They scored. They took their chances when they came along, but it just seemed like we could go on and on and on. When you have your 2 turnovers, basically in your half of the ice, and you don't recover the puck, and they get 2-0 up, I think at that stage they had 6 shots, maybe 7. Again, they get those 2 goals to go ahead. It's a difficult place to go, and the Dundee will beat, teams around us, and teams like Cardiff and Sheffield and Nottingham. They'll beat them this year. But difficult night, and Dundee deserved the win.
It's Dundee took 4 points for the weekend, having beaten Guildford the night before. That's a great weekend for them, great turn, because especially considering they're still on a push to try to pull ahead of those teams that are in the fight for the playoff places. But Sobel, correct. I think absolutely the man of the match. I do have an issue with. I remember I was watching. Of course, social media is not a guide of anything, but I do have an issue with people who point to the goalie and says, "Yeah, but they had a great goalie." Goalie's as much a member of the team as anybody. If they've got a good goalie playing and a good performance, that's just what it is. But Davy says we could have played all night and not scored any more against them.
Simon said about Saturday night as well, probably just a little lack of execution in key areas, and I think we outshot them 2-1, 42-24, something like that. You put those numbers up, either their goalie's been outstanding or you've under-executed. You're taking lower percentage shots than you maybe would. You're underplaying opportunities that you have, and I think on the night, we probably had maybe not as many grade A chances as we wanted, but we had opportunities to be in that game, and we got it back to 2-1, and unfortunately they were able to turn around and make it 3-1, and that sort of took the steam out of any sort of comeback that we had. We threw a lot of shots in towards the end of the game as well and just couldn't solve the riddle. But yeah, the goaltender played well. He's paid to. As Keane would say, that's his job. And some nights you come up against one who just won't be beaten. And we had opportunities and we didn't take them. And that's, you got to execute. You got to take your opportunities, or you'll find that this league's a lot closer than you think it is.
Dundee is a decent outfit. Like, I know they're sitting quite low in the league standings, but they've given us a battle more or less every time we went in there.
Yeah, no, listen, they're a good team. He's got them well organized, and it's all about taking your chances when they come along. They defended very well as well. Sabo will get the plaudits for making the saves, but defensively, I spoke to Davy about this on either Sunday night or Monday morning. They didn't give us a ton of grade A chances. And the grade A chances that they did give us, they got bodies in front of them. I don't know how many blocks they had. I didn't look at the end stats from the game. But, they played very well and just kept it simple. Just like plays like that, you just seen on the video, shot comes in, goalie makes a save. We're getting guys going to the front of the net, defense, and just chips a puck out. This game is not a hard game to get your head around. But unfortunately, we couldn't just find the net as often as we have been doing. And, it is what it is. So it's Dundee played very well. If you give me 7 games against them this year, and you're playing, I'm winning 6 off them, and I only get the 1, I'd bite your arm off for it. So we've done all right against them this year. You can't win everything and every night, but it's disappointing, unfortunately.
It is disappointing. The Giants take 2 points away from the weekend in Scotland, but they're trying to consolidate that place at the top of the Elite League standings. The highlights from this game are from Dundee Stars TV on YouTube, and of course the highlights from the other game are from Flyers TV, both on YouTube. Let's bring in our first guest, gentlemen. A man we've been speaking about a little bit over the last few weeks. He's been scoring some absolutely wonderful goals, and we're glad to see it. And please welcome back one of our favourite people here, one of you from the bridge, Mr. Kieran Long. How are you doing, mate?
Hello, gentlemen.
How are you?
One of our favourite people.
Yeah, well, one of my favourite people in this. I mean, you don't care for him, says, but that's fine. Right, so first things.
Also one of my favourite people. Yeah.
There you go. So 2 out of 3.
Davy's probably top of my list with the old biscuits on the road trips and everything.
The bottom line is we're we're enemies this week. Spurs play Aston Villa on Sunday.
Well, see, now you're going to see that you're getting my first question here, Mr. Kieran Long.
Well, hang on, just what he's saying there. It actually makes sense now. 7-5 on a loss, no road biscuits.
No biscuits.
No biscuits.
That's it.
Duran
out the door, Rashford in. What are your thoughts?
I think we've scammed 77 million out of El Nasser.
Snap this hand off.
And I think Unai can, if he gets half of what Rashford is capable of, I think that's pretty decent, to be fair. Because Watkins is number 1 striker and everyone else fits.
Were you worried he was going to go to Arsenal?
No. Even though he's an Arsenal fan, once we got rid of Duran, he was never going to go.
Let's get the hockey. What was your take on the weekend, mate? With the game again, obviously, what ended up being quite a tight and feisty one in Fife, and then a disappointing one in in Dundee.
Yeah, it's always tough going on the road over to Scotland. Both of those arenas, like the fans are loud and they're behind their team, and it is a great atmosphere. The Saturday game obviously had quite a big lead and then slipped up, so should have really learned a lesson from that, but led into a disappointing loss with a goaltender that played really well.
How difficult is it to unlock a goaltender like that when he's doing, he seems to be seeing the puck like a beach ball?
Yeah, it's difficult. I think we could have done a little bit better job of trying to get in front of his eyes and people get off the side of him as well, just creating scrambles. But you have to give it to Dundee. They played a very well game. And, it's just unfortunate we lost.
Kieran, I love a wee stat. I've got a Ciaran Long stat.
Oh, man.
You may or may not know this one, but hot on the heels of Ben Lake last weekend making his 300th appearance for the Belfast Giants in Dundee on Sunday night. Ciaran Long made his 300th appearance for the Belfast Giants. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm surprised. Luke is out injured more than I am. So,
but I don't know how many years that is now, Kieran. But obviously, that's a little milestone to be proud of.
Yeah, it definitely is. Obviously playing for Giants is a big thing. My family are now from here, and Belfast is definitely a big part of my life. Yeah, I mean, I've played a lot of hockey games, so yeah, it's all good.
We're very, I find myself very lucky that I get to see things a wee bit closer hand at times, and just you having to jump from D to up front or maybe back on D during a game in Guildford the other week when Bo takes a hit and it's just straight to tap on the shoulder, right? You're right D next shift. Is that hard to transition during a game, or are you just delighted to get the ice time?
Obviously delighted to get the ice time. The hardest thing I find transitioning is from defense to being back in the middle as a centerman, just because the way we play, usually our centerman has like the most responsibility in the D zone. So sometimes I'll get stuck in front of the net where I'm like, oh, I'm not a D-man anymore. I'm a centerman. I need to go chase. But yeah, that usually take me 1 or 2 shifts to get back into it. But yeah, it's usually not too bad.
Longer, talk us through that. A lot of people don't understand, that especially from a defensive point of view. Adam, just as you said, the centerman's the most important guy in the defensive zone, and especially if you've got to have your head in the swivel the whole time as well. You've got to keep you've got to make sure your wingers are on the point. You've got to make sure your defensemen are in the right position as well. But talk us through the way that you look at that as a centerman as well.
It's what I feel like one of my best things is trying to be able to read the game. So I think that helps me playing in the middle. Yeah, just as a centerman, you kind of like just the way we play. Obviously, we're trying to double up on players, and the centerman not necessarily is man marking. You kind of almost, it's difficult to describe, almost like zonal, but like an aggressive zonal, if that makes sense. But yeah, no, it's I enjoy the way we play because it gets you going, and we don't tend to have too many long extended shifts in our D zone.
And obviously, with the position that you're playing at the minute, and all, but you've been up and down as in defense and forward. There's always somebody else because of the rules of you're only allowed 19 players or whatever. We're short on a couple of guys at the minute. But when you're playing with, you had a bit of a chance to play with Goalie there a couple of weeks ago. He was on your wing along with A and other. That is a difficult thing to handle as well. Because, the likes of the chemistry that you build with guys that you play with on a regular basis. Look at the mismatched Laker and Coops, or you make it now Goalie, Cons and JJ. The chemistry they build up and just the little mannerisms, if you want to put it that way, it does take a bit of time to get used to playing with different people.
Yeah, it definitely does. Obviously playing with Goody, I've seen him play for the same amount of time I've been here, even though he's only had 3 half seasons, which is a joke. Just like knowing, because I've watched Goody. I find it easier to play with guys that I've been able to study and watch and over a certain amount of time. It's a little bit more difficult when it's a different guy that maybe I haven't played with as much. But it does come, like you said, it does take time to get used to everybody's like little quirks and kind of understanding what their next move is, kind of, if that makes sense.
This weekend, obviously, we got the Guildford Flames and then the Manchester Storm. The Guildford Flames have players that you've played alongside. The Manchester Storm players with a team you used to play for. But come regards to the Guildford Flames and those players you played alongside, what is that like to go up against lads that 12 months ago you were playing with?
It's always good fun because it gives you that extra pep in your step. You don't want to lose to like friends, so like just as in like in football terms, like I probably would have gone missing if Celtic beat Villa. So if Spurs beat Villa, I might go missing after Sunday too because I don't want to see Sis. But yeah, no, it's just
you are outside, you mean?
I'm sure you will. Yeah, no, it's always fun, and it just gives you that extra boost to get the job done.
I'll say this for the Travis Brown is coming up after you, and he's waiting in the background. So do you have a message for him?
Let me just see what he just fired me a message. So
he's trying to put you off.
Bring him on.
So. Get him on.
Let them get on each other.
I'll bring him on for a minute because bring on Travis Brown. Welcome to A View from the Bridge.
Whoa, brother!
Hey, brother.
Travis is a Villa fan, by the way, now too. So we're boys.
Yeah.
Wait. How on earth is you? How on earth?
His granddad's from Birmingham.
Just because of Kieran Long?
They just have a great roster, and I have some connections to Birmingham. I have Longer. My grandpa, when he was immigrating from Jamaica, lived in Birmingham. My dad was born in Birmingham, and then they moved to Winnipeg in Canada. So I had to choose a team, and that's where I settled. And you know what? I couldn't be happier.
Well,
there you go.
Smart guy, this one.
So the question right back at you, Mr. Brown, is when you go up against a former team and former teammates, how do you approach it?
Same as every game. Usually I'd stop at the red line during warm-ups and have a little chat, especially with Longer. But when it comes to it, it's just makes the game more fun, competing against your friends. At the end of the day, we're all hockey players, and we all understand the rules of the game. So there's no friends once the puck drops, but it's always good winning a battle or scoring or what have you, and winning against friends.
Are there hacks and whacks, and does it get a bit feisty?
Only from Laker.
Well, do you not remember the GB Belfast game at the start of the year where Laker and Basti were going at it?
Yep.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
To be honest, the first time they went into the corner down the bottom, where you just go off the ice in Cardiff, they came together in the corner there, and I was like, "This is the first exhibition match of preseason, and they're absolutely smashing each other."
Are they going to be teammates?
Yeah,
on the same year.
But then what's the mentality there? Like you don't want to injure the guy. Like you're going to hack a second. You don't want to injure it because you know you're going to be playing. Well, in that case, alongside him in like a matter of weeks.
I mean, he sits apart from Longer. He sits right beside him in the locker room.
To be fair, it was smash and smile. Like it was smash each other and laugh on the way. Like it's all good.
Yeah, just wired a little differently.
Travis, I'm going to drop you out for 2 minutes, and we're going to come back to you because I've got one more thing to do with Longer.
Go on, Rashi.
We'll be back to Travis Brown in just a moment, but I want to do this before we let you go, Mr. Kieran Long. It is time for the nominations for the Player of the Month for January. We asked people to send in their nominations, and we've come with the following shortlist. Number 1, Mr. Jackson Whistle. Number 12, it's JJ Pickenich. Number 42, we just spoke about him. It's Gabe Bast. Who could be next? Number 89, it's Kieran Long. We're going to open the voting on Wednesday morning. We're voting all the way through till Saturday, and we'll be presenting the Player of the Month for January after one of the games this weekend. We'll come to you last, Mr. Long. We're going to come to you last. I'm going to vote first. Sorry, Kieran. My vote goes for Jackson Whistle. I think he's been lights out. I think Longer scored some absolutely fantastic goals. I think Basti's been brilliant. I think JJ as well has really started to hit his straps. I think he had a bit of a slow start to the season, but Jackson Whistle has been lights out through the whole month, through the back end of December, and then all the way through. All the way through January, he has won us games, and that's where my vote will go. Simon, because you called that your next.
I would agree with you. I think Jackson's been excellent. He's made the net his own over the last few weeks. When you've got competition, obviously Tom McCollum's he's been pushing him hard in practice and what have you, but Jackson has deserved to keep on getting in that net and taking up the next game. So, he's won his games. He's kept his end games, and that's all you can ask of your goaltender. So he's, Jackson Whistler for me this month.
Mr. McGimsey?
Number 89, I'm going to go with the guy that's on the podcast this week. I have very valid arguments for Jackson think JJ has came hot at a good time as well. Basti scored big goals, but Kieran scored big goals and game-winning goals at crucial times through the month of January. And limited ice time compared to some of the other ones, and having to scrap sometimes for ice time and then taking those opportunities when that limited ice time comes along. So I go for 89.
And number 89, who's your vote going for? You can vote for yourself, like if you want.
No, we can do that. I think Wiss has been great, but it's his job. He has to save the puck. I don't know why everyone gets all excited. That's
Roy Keane.
No, I would go with JJ. I think he's really turned it up and he's scoring goals out of nothing for us at the moment. So yeah, I would go with JJ.
As I said, the voting will open on Wednesday morning. It'll go all the way through to the weekend. Cast your vote at AVFTB on X/Twitter, whatever you want to call it. Mr. Long, good to see you, mate. Best to everybody at home, and keep doing what you're doing.
I will do my best.
Big thanks to Longer. Right, let's bring him back in. We enjoyed his company last season when he played for the Giants. So just because he plays for the Guildford Flames doesn't mean we can't have him back on the show. Mr. Brown, good to see you.
How you guys doing? Thanks for having me.
No, good to have you back. Good to have you back on the show. How's life in Surrey?
It's good. Yeah, it's good. Guildford's a quiet spot. Has everything you need. Yeah, it's been wonderful so far.
How do you feel the season's gone?
So far, so good. Up and down, some injury trouble within the team, but I feel like that's league wide. But you know what? I think we've been hitting a bit of a stride, and it's just kind of finding that consistency. It's with the experience last year, you kind of see whoever's the most consistent usually takes home the titles. So I think it's just we're coming into the second half of the season, so just trying to end on a strong note and be consistent through the last 20 or so games here.
You're allowed to say it, Brandy, but do you miss us?
I miss everyone who I run into over my playing career. It's always nice seeing everyone, and coming into Belfast next weekend. It's obviously a great place to play, and it's an exciting game. But it's also nice seeing some familiar faces who welcomed me so well.
Is it nice down in Guildford there to have some friendly faces? I see Charlie down there the other week as well. You're still close with him.
Yeah, no, most definitely. Having Charlie here, Teddy, a couple guys who I played with in the past. So it's always nice coming into a new spot, knowing some guys and some familiarity. But the rest of the group is unbelievable. So it's been a fun year for sure.
Is it massively different? I'm trying to be not condescending on this, but the difference between playing in the SSE and playing in the Spectrum, it's a little culture shock there.
Yeah, no, most definitely. If anyone looks at the two facilities, you can tell there's a difference, but with each of them, they have their advantages. I would say playing in Belfast, obviously you have everything you need, but also when an away team comes into Belfast, that team's fired up to play in Belfast. You have the crowd, the setup, everything's wonderful. And I think people don't show the Spectrum enough love when they're coming in from the road. So sometimes maybe it's harder to get up for some of those games, when for us, we love playing there. So I think it's just, there's some differences, but most definitely love them both in their own right.
Travis, obviously, you're coming back into Belfast this weekend, and I know there's a few people looking very, very forward to see you. I'll talk to you after the game. I'm not speaking to you before it. When you look at the league, it's obviously your second year in the elite league. Adapting to it, you're a very smooth skating defenseman. We've seen that last year. We were lucky to have you last year. But when you're looking at the ice and obviously the bigger ice pads, such as the SSE, for a defenseman, it really is making it the most of the space that you have.
Most definitely. Yeah, no, just coming in last year and kind of adjusting, and the bigger ice is obviously a perk for me because I do enjoy skating and kind of having that space to maneuver. But yeah, second year in the league, it's just been. It seems like the league's getting better every year. There's more parity in the league. Everyone can beat anyone. You see it with us last weekend. You see it with you guys. Like, you never know what's going to happen. But yeah, most definitely, it's a bit of an advantage having the bigger ice surface and being able to kind of buzz around out there.
What sort of game are you expecting this week? Obviously, we met a couple of weeks ago. Giants coming out with a 5-2 win in Guildford. What sort of game are you expecting come Saturday?
I think it'll be a good game. You know, with Belfast right now, you give them an inch, they take a mile. Very opportunistic team. Obviously playing under Keefe's system, it's a well-oiled machine over there. So if you do make a mistake, more likely than not, you're going to pay. So I think us coming in, it's just playing a simple, hard game and just kind of sticking to our structure and seeing what happens.
Guildford are a strange beast this year. You know, you look at some of the results you've had. Like, obviously, it was a very difficult start to the season. It took you a long time to get up and running. But when you seem to be on sometimes, off. Sis mentioned the game against us. You know, we win that game 5-2. You lose again, following game to Nottingham. But then you absolutely tank the Steelers. Then you go, you take an away victory in Coventry. But then you do what we did. You go to Dundee and lose. So, you know, when Diggers got you into the locker room, what's the message? Where can you find the consistency?
Yeah, I think you nailed it right there, and it's just the consistency. It's every night, just doing the small things. Because at the end of the day, every team has to deal with sometimes worse travel on a weekend, but you're always playing a back-to-back and being ready for that second game or even that first game. I think it's just sticking to the structure and not veering off. And when you do, or like you have a bad shift or a bad period, say, it's being able to rein it in right away and get back to that structure. So I think it's should be the goal for every team, is just that consistency. And I think we've found it at times, but most definitely we can improve on it.
I think it would be fair to Travis to say that you have lost key players at key times. The injuries, you know, everybody has their share of injuries, but Guildford at times it's the key players that you have missed out on.
Yeah, no, most definitely. It's it has been one of those seasons, but at the end of the day, like, we can all play, and I think when you do lose those key players, that's when you kind of have to fall back on your systems and that simplicity even more, and kind of you don't always need to make the flashy play. Just wait for mistakes and capitalize, and just try to defend as best as possible.
Have you had a chance to jump up front like you did last year on a few occasions?
Yeah, so one of our games, I think we lost one guy to a 5 in a game, and then another forward to an injury. So I was like, if you need me up there, like, I'll go. So I played a third period up. It kind of felt nice, but I forgot how tiring it was playing the wing.
We've got one question in here. We'll start with regards to Kevin Madden. We really hit the nail on the head with the in-depth questions here in A View from the Bridge. Have you been on the water slides yet?
No,
Those water slides in the Spectrum, man.
I know. I haven't. I've done a couple spin classes, but no, I haven't. I haven't been in the water yet. I'm waiting.
An opportunity being missed there.
Yeah, waiting for the off season. But you know what? We have a couple days. I might have to take those for a go.
Well, listen, it's good to see you. Obviously, we don't wish you well when you come back over here, but wish you well for the rest of the season. And yeah, we'll catch up again soon.
Yes, of course. Thanks a lot, guys. Always a pleasure.
Thanks, Travis.
save the date.
Big thanks to Travis Brown. You love it, do we?
That advert, there's something incredibly sinister at the end. It's like, I'll get saved. Like, I am coming. All right. It's like,
It's the 8th of June, mate. Get yourself there. And we learned in the last week that John Pelly, unbelievable. This guy. Are you kidding me, Simon? John Pelly's a part of the lineup, and it'll be good to see him back.
Yeah, he's a great lad. The flights are all booked for him. He's coming in, and there's quite a lot of other guys that are going to be announced very shortly as well. So, you know, some big names coming back, and yeah, you're going to have to make sure you get your tickets because this one's going to be sold out again. It's the support we're having this year and the support that Adam's had over the years as well. It just goes to show that, you know, it's going to be a big night for sure.
I just realised that what I've forgotten to do while we were doing all that is to switch all this to show everybody the scores. So let's do that. Some of the news around the a lot of it happened just today, or no, in the last couple of days. One of them being the fact that Gareth Chalmers, 12 years regards to helping run the Braehead and then subsequently the Glasgow Clan, has announced that he's moving on from the job. He was the managing director. He ended up being the managing director of the Glasgow Clan and of Braehead Arena when it all got taken over. I've known Gareth. We've got to 15 years or more, 15, nearly 20 years or more, from his days when he was working with the Newcastle Vipers and some of the media set up there. And, you know, I know that, you know, he bled for that club and everything. But I guess, you know, some things come to an end, Simon. The clan are struggling. There's a change in ownership. And I guess, you know, part of that is a change.
Yeah, look, it's the same in any business. You know, the owner obviously will want his own man in, and you know, Gareth's done great things to the clan over the years and through difficult circumstances. You know, at times over those last 12 or 13 years that he's been there. So you know, it's he'll be missed. He'll definitely miss throughout the league. You know, he's a good guy, and you know, I keep saying, you know, there's a lot of hockey fans are very fickle. They just don't realize what they've got until it's gone. You need to be very careful in what you wish for, and I know what you're going to go on and talk about next as well. But it's you know, the clan have had a tough season again. They're sitting in 8th position with only 27 points, as you can see from the league standings are now. But look, there's still a long way to go. They can beat anybody on their night. They've already beaten us this season. They're a good team, but the puck's not bouncing for them at the minute. So hopefully against us, long may that continue, but against others that, you know, they sort of perk up.
Interesting listening, as I did earlier today, to the Clan from the Stands podcast to hear sort of the opinions of some of their fans about this. They did a podcast on the back of Gareth moving on, and it seems that there's an element that there was a division in the fan base. Some people, you know, wanting to blame him for the bad things and not the good, and other people realizing that he was there for 12 years and you know, and all the changes. And granted, you know, the clan, you know, they haven't won anything in that time. There have been some significant challenges in that time that some they handled well, some they really didn't handle well. But, you know, Davy, you know, Gareth is who he is, and he's a man who knows hockey. He was a hockey agent, and he'll probably go on and remain within hockey in some form or fashion. The clan have now moved to bring in Russell Smith, a guy who's worked in sports and events with regards to the RNA and Doncaster Racecourse, Newcastle Racecourse, and had senior positions at Hibs and Scottish Rugby. So they're bringing in a guy with the knowledge of sport, maybe not hockey.
Simon will know this very well from working like close to the club. Laura will know this. Aaron Murphy will know this. You can't please all the people all of the time. You work your socks off to the best of intentions. When you get up in the morning, you go to work, you try to do your best, and you try to please as many people as you can, and you try to do your best for your organisation. And I have no doubt that Gareth, in his time with whatever organisation it has been, will have been doing his best, what he believed was his best for that organisation at that time. And he served with distinction any club that he's ever worked for, and he just goes on to a new chapter, and do nothing but wish him all the best.
Other news in Scotland is that Tom Muir and Jack Wishart at Fife, after almost 30 years of ownership and as directors, are departing from Kirkcaldy. Obviously, the club sit currently rock bottom of the league with only 8 points from the 64 that they have available. They're going through a difficult time. There's an ambiguous, and those that follow me on Twitter, I was quite surprised at the way it was put on the official on the official website that the buyer has the option to return to the league should they wish, based on the fact that they're holding the franchise within the Elite League. There's a lot of unknowns there, but I says I'll come back to with regards to Fife, that is difficult. Muir Wishart have been like almost 30 years of that club, brought them in the Elite League, the oldest club in the country. They brought them in the Elite League. Yes, they're struggling, but to lose 2 major investors in the club like that without any knowledge of a direct replacement, they've asked for people if they want to buy to get in touch. It's uncertain times, uncertain future for the Fife Flyers currently.
Yeah, it's worrying. The Elite League's been in a decent place for the last number of years, and it needs 10 teams it needs 10 teams. That's the bottom line. They're dropping the 9 teams now. If the Fife Flyers don't come back next year, will there another team step up? Yeah, possibly. I honestly don't know the answer to that, but there might well be somebody already they're having conversations with. You just hope that they can get through to the end of the season. I know they said they're stepping down, and I think it's difficult with the number of fans that they have coming into the building as well. There's not running a hockey club isn't cheap. You talk about, I know there's other clubs have a go at us. We're money bags. People don't realize what we spend in travel alone. Every time we go away for an away game, we've got to stay over. Every other team in the league can get home that night eventually. Yes, it might take them 7 or 8 or 9 hours to get home on the bus, but we can't. We've got a ferry or we've got to basically fly home. So we cannot travel to an away game and get home in the same day. So the amount of money that it costs to basically stay over is a ton of cash. And even when the Scottish teams come here for a day, the way the ferries work, they can get home because we're close to the terminal, to the ferry terminal. Whereas if we're playing Fife, we can't get back to Stranraer or Cairnryan by 10:30. It's impossible. So, it's a really difficult situation. Hopefully they can get through to the end of the season. Hopefully they can regroup and again, hopefully somebody comes in and puts a bit of money into the club. Tom Muir and Jack Wishart have been around the Fife organisation, as I say, for a long, long time, longer than 30 years. They're just owners for the last 30 years. And when you look at the history of the names they've played for the Fife Flyers, Wishart's on there, Muir's on there, so there's if you look at, I would say arguably Kirkcaldy is probably being the hotbed of hockey players for GB over the last 40 years. Obviously in the last 10 or 15, obviously Cardiff and Nottingham and Sheffield have all come into that. But before that, it was Scotland and it was Murrayfield, it was Kirkcaldy, it's literally where I sort of began to love the game. Obviously, Dundonald, when we were starting to play there, we were playing in Kirkcaldy and we were playing in Murrayfield and playing in Glenrothes and forgetting my skates. So all these times before that, it's sort of where I grew to love the game, and it's difficult to. I'm just hoping that they can get sorted out and somebody comes in and puts a bit of money into it.
Davey, in the past, we've went through situations in the league. Like the Super League was its own beast, and seeing teams drop out of that. But even the likes of Basingstoke dropping down out of the Elite League. Like I have my ties to the Newcastle Vipers and the fan base. And we talked about Gareth there a few minutes ago, but the ties to the fan base there, and they had to move out of the arena, go to Whitley Bay. It didn't work there because of just many reasons. It's difficult to see a club that are struggling to get points to begin with, but now their fan base have been throwing this curveball.
Yeah, well, I think the recruitment at the start of this season has certainly helped with the demise. It's difficult for them. I'm not going to say that the league has outgrown them, but obviously the numbers that are going in the other arenas are giving other teams spending power that maybe Fife don't have. And they're just not bringing the numbers. There's 1,200. Even that against the Belfast Giants isn't a great crowd. That's probably one of their bigger crowds this season too. And a bit like the Gareth Chalmers one, because you can't please all the people all the time, Tom. And Tom and Jack Wisher, Tom Muir have been there for a very, very long time, and their intentions are good, and they've put money into that club and they've kept it afloat, I'm sure, at times during many years as well. And things have just conspired over a number of years now that that club has gone backwards. Todd obviously taking a sideward step. That they're not the team of Mark Morrison from how many years ago, Simon? 25, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
The game moved on, and the Fife Flyers didn't really. And I hope that isn't disparaging the likes of Laura or whoever might be watching. You know, it's a club that we'll love going to because of the old school vibe that's going on there. And I hope that they can get a house in order, and maybe there'll be another buyer that comes in. But you can't say that Jack and Tom haven't been good owners, but just perhaps the wrong people were put in charge of recruitment or whatever. And this season definitely hasn't worked out for them. And sitting bottom of the league with 8 points, whatever that is, I don't know, 18 points adrift or something at the bottom. Like, their season's done now. And that's hard for a fan base to keep going. They're not reaching the playoffs. They're out of the cup. You know, that becomes hard to fill an arena on a Saturday and Sunday. As Simon has said, I hope they can see the season through, because even in that, there's graciousness in getting through a season. There's adversity there that they'll have to overcome. There's trips they'll not want to go on. Do you want to be a Fife Fire player and be getting on a bus to drive to Guildford 10 hours maybe and back again after the game? It's hard to get the psychology of having to do that on a weekend. I just hope that their players can stick with Johnny Curran through the end of the season.
It doesn't even seem like that long when the Fife Flyers were in the semi-finals of the playoffs. You're probably going to tell me it was like 10 years ago, but it doesn't seem like
Challenge Cup.
Final Challenge Cup. That's right, absolutely. You know what I mean? It's not that long that they were able to fight for these and get through. You know, and knocking the Sheffield Steelers out on the way here. It just feels, yes, Fife. Let's say in the history of the Elite League, Fife have never been fifth or above, have they? You know, there's never been where we think they've always been just trying to get through. But that happens to teams. They're still competitive. They're still taking points. They're still they're still taking points off teams who are battling for the Elite League title, as they have done this season against the Sheffield Steelers.
The big thing about that, Paddy, is they're under no pressure now. You know what I mean? I mean, they can go out there and play with a bit of aloof, and hopefully they can get the guys who want to turn up one night. They'll end up beating somebody. They will win a couple more games this season. They're not going to win a ton, but they will win this season again. Hopefully, it's not going to be against us. We've I think it's 4 times we've got to play them, maybe 3. Yeah. So again, hopefully they can make us through the end of the season. Davy's just nailed it in the head. Guys, why would they want to basically spend money to come to Belfast if they're, this is where we really need to try. And we talk about giving them a buy ball a few weeks ago for getting another couple of players in, and players not playing because they're suspended. Playing because they're suspended. But this is the type of thing that we're probably going to have to concede that they're going to need help between now and the end of the season. It's when there would have been fans already booked to come to Belfast, and they've got to come to Belfast a couple more times to play games, and you don't want to let the fans down that have already booked to come, because fans pay really good money to come on an away trip. There's nothing like going to follow your team on the road. That you basically learn so much, and you get to meet all new friends, and you just be surprised who you bump into. But hopefully the Flyers can basically keep on going, just day by day, hopefully get it done by the end of the year. I've seen that they're going to recognize before Jack and Tom stand down, they're going to recognize a number of players, which is fantastic. Talked about Mark Morrison, Todd Julian, and Stephen King. Kingy was what a player Stephen King was. Born local. I played against him a number of times, and really, really good player. Still involved in hockey and the Scottish junior youth development side of things. And he's a legend in Fife, as is Todd Julian and Mark Morrison, who played in the NHL before that with the New York Rangers, and put it through my legs twice in about 30 seconds, and I just went for a shift change. Was totally embarrassed. But that's this type of guys that they would have played for them back in the day, and they have had a lot of history. They put a lot of banners up over the years, and I've always said I've had a wee bit of a soft spot for Fife Flyers, but hopefully they can see a way of moving forward and continue at this level.
Obviously, Tom Cullen moved on or was moved on earlier season, but I will say that, and the attitude we heard from him earlier in regards to the coaches' interviews post game, the attitude of briefly of this parish, Johnny Curran, having to step up into what is a difficult situation. I encourage people to go and watch the new Coventry Blaze podcast that's on YouTube. That Johnny Curran appears on it this week, or last week's one, and just his attitude is right, his approach is right, his enthusiasm for coaching. It's a bit like Kevin Moore at Coventry as well. He's got this ambition to succeed as a coach, and Johnny's in a difficult position here. This thing's went out today that the club's for sale. More or less, you've got nothing to lose, but you've got every opportunity to bloody a few noses and show your own coaching nuance in what is basically your burgeoning career as a coach.
Yeah,
apart from that as well, there's 15 guys there, 20 guys that need jobs next season, so they can't mail it in either. They got to go out with a kind of kingmaker attitude here, or they can go out and, they can't win it themselves, but they can try and stop other people winning. They can have a say in the title race, even though they're bottom of the league. That's the kind of attitude they need to go out with. Like, we're going to go and they're not going to win it against us, or they're not going to say they won it because they 4 games against us. That'll be a big thing for Fife. Johnny Curran will be saying, Belfast Giants have 4 games against us. They'll think that's 8 points. Let's go and make sure they don't get 8 points. We've got to go to them. Let's make it as difficult a night for them. And you look at whatever Saturday night, and we took our foot off
10 seconds.
We've done all the hard work, and you just take your foot off the gas for 1 minute, and they come roaring back. And Johnny Curran will want to do that night in, night out. He said himself in his interview, you got to start on time, and you got to play 60 minutes against these good teams. And if they can get a 60-minute game out of them, they'll take points off teams.
We had to score the winning goal in 59 minutes and 10 seconds against that side. So if anybody thinks that the Fife Flyers are done, you just need to look at the game that we played against them on Saturday night to show that they're actually not.
Yeah.
Belfast Giants have 2 games this weekend. So both games are at home. We play the Guildford Flames, as we spoke about earlier, at 7 p.m. at the SSE Arena, and then 4 p.m. we'll face the Manchester Storm. Last weekend, the Cardiff Devils dropped 4 points with no 0-point weekend, and the Sheffield Steelers picked up 4, and we dropped 2 ourselves. So if you consider those 3 teams are in the title hunt, and that's been a little bit disrespectful to the Nottingham Panthers, who actually sit in 3rd. You know that coming into these games says that there's a hell of a lot of hockey to be played. The Giants need to get wins to consolidate that position at the top of the league.
Yeah, absolutely. Every game's important. The Panthers are a really good team. I said this a while ago. They're a really, really good team. Their top 6 is probably as good as any in the league. They've got some really good Brit core. Obviously, Ollie Betteridge is still there, and you've got all the big lad in the back end, the big defenseman. Can't remember his name. Big number 25. Anyway, what's that?
Her?
No. I can't remember his name, number 25. But they've got and young Jordan Kelsall's playing for them and playing well as well. So goaltender's decent as well. And look, again, you just can't not turn up against every team in this league. If you want to be the champions, you've got to turn up every single night. And unfortunately, Sunday past we didn't turn up enough, and we didn't, we just didn't bring our A game. And hopefully this weekend, starting with Guildford on Saturday night at 7 o'clock, we're going to bring our A game. And I expect Adam, as I say, the boys have got a couple of days off here now, and they're back on the ice tomorrow morning. And I expect the game that these guys are going to be up for this game this weekend. We're leaving guys out of the lineup now because we're leaving healthy guys out of the lineup. So if you're not going to play and you're not going to turn up, there's other guys that come in. So if you want to be a hockey player and you talk about, Davey just mentioned there a few minutes ago, you talk about the Fife Flyers wanting to, these guys are looking for jobs next year. Every hockey player is looking for a job next year.
Yeah.
Pride, professional pride from the Flyers perspective. They want to turn up every single night and do the best for their team and their fans. Every player that's playing this league should be doing exactly the same thing. And, we've got a really good opportunity here to push on this weekend I haven't looked who else plays who this weekend. I've no idea if the Steelers play Nottingham or Sheffield play Cardiff. I've absolutely no idea. But we've just got to concentrate on what's in front of us, and our next opponent's the Guildford Flames. So it's all targeting the Guildford Flames.
It's Josh Tetlow was the player you're thinking of.
Yeah. Tetlow, that's right. Sorry, Josh Tetlow. I just couldn't remember his name.
I was just, and you've just said something I was going to flip on to Davy there, which is, have we reached the point where we're watching the results from across the league, or are you just still focusing on what the chance again?
A little bit of both. Of course, you'll go and look and see how other teams done, and you'll want them to be. I'll not use that analogy. You want them to be beating each other. Obviously, Sheffield, Simon, this weekend. Sheffield go to Manchester. Cardiff and Coventry play each other on the Saturday night. Sunday, Nottingham, Glasgow, Sheffield are away to Blaze, Cardiff are away to Guildford. There's no gimmies in this league. Just like we don't have gimmies at home this weekend either. It's difficult, but like I said to you in the podcast last week when Simon wasn't here, we really just, I know it's cliche and all, just got to focus one game at a time and take care of our own business, and we'll be okay.
Yeah, that's the most important thing. Look at the schedule in front of yourself. Ultimately, if we win every game between now and the end of the season, we're champions. We talked about this back at the start of December, and I said that if a team gets on a run and wins 6, 7, 8 games in a row, they've got a chance. We done that. We basically went out there and we were starting to get healthy, and at the early December we've started to win games. We're 8-2 in the last 10 games, and 16-4 in the last 20. So when you're basically picking points up, it's important to try. If you don't get the win in regulations, you've got to knock your pan in to try and pick up a point to take it to overtime. So, it's important each game at a time. And, let's get stuck into the card of the Guildford Flames the weekend.
Guildford, 7 p.m. at the SSE Arena or on Giants TV. Manchester, 4 p.m. on Sunday down at the Arena or on Giants TV. Gives your usual updates on tickets. Can we get them?
We are down to there's basically not many left on Saturday. Sunday there's a few more left, but Saturday I think it's probably going to be announced. If it's not tomorrow, it'll be Thursday. That'll be sold out.
Let's start with any other business. I believe we still got a few hours left. Says on the raffle for the stuff for boxing.
I thought it was over.
No,
it's over now.
It's
over now,
and it's been drawn.
Has been drawn. All right. So
you got the winner there, David?
I'm not paying attention.
I do have the winner here. Bear with. Blah, blah, blah. The winner was a guy called Richard Dixon, I think.
Oh, you're right. It is
Richard Dixon.
Yes.
So the winner of the signed jersey, and just cannot thank people enough for the. I don't know whether are we allowed to say what we lifted, Simon, in terms of.
I don't see
over
£2,000, so it's fantastic.
Over £2,000. I don't have the exact figure in front of me here, but over £2,000 from the Belfast Giants fans and beyond and every single penny lifted is going to Boxy's GoFundMe page. So,
remarkable.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic. Our fans are just the hockey fans in general for that type of thing are fantastic, and putting that together for. Everything going to the Boxy fundraiser is just brilliant.
Absolutely superb. Big thank you say to everybody who got involved and got involved in the raffle, and well done to Richard on winning the signed shirt.
He does need to claim his shirt, so he needs to go to the raffle website, and claim that he's won.
And don't be like what happened in Cardiff and let somebody else claim it, and then you have to go looking for a ticket. I have no idea. I was only half paying attention, to be honest.
I can tell you exactly what happened.
Go on.
They used the same graphic from last year and they put up the winners. So they just put up the winners of the ticket numbers from last year by accident. So they just got the graphic for Pride Night, and here's the winning tickets with the rainbows and all on it. And they stuck it up on the screen, and then so people have gone, I haven't won, threw my tickets away, and then they've realized later and went, oops, if you haven't. So there was a number of unclaimed shirts, a larger than, so I think Todd's trying his best to sort it out.
Yeah,
Right,
I think
okay.
I saw like a whole thrower, and I know somebody was like looking for, oh come on, if you had my shirt, then please come back and sort it out and have it as it is. But I don't know whether that got sorted out. It just seemed to be the usual sort of thing that happens in elite league hockey.
I
People
would say
rummaging in bins for tickets.
there'd be a few bin dippers looking for raffle tickets in the back door of the.
Apparently people were ripping through the bins like the.
Were they really absolutely joking? Is that right?
I to try and people have bought 20 quid's worth of tickets, throwing them in a bin, and essentially could have themselves a £200 jersey. So I think that story might run and run. I'm not sure what they're going to do. Todd said that they're going to donate all the money to charity now rather than whatever they were going to do. So he's trying his best to make a.
He's a good lad. He'll do his best. Of course he will.
Of course he will.
One other piece of AOB for me is I want to give our friend Gareth Martin a bit of a shout for his skater size that he's doing at the Irvine rink. He's doing, if you want to skate and you want to do a bit of exercise, go and join Marty in his skater size. Looks good. You go to get downstairs. Look at him. He's giving people on the skates, on the roller skates, on the rollerblades, a bit of exercise down there.
I hate the inline skates. Just can't do it. I just can't do it at all, man. I tried and nearly killed somebody, so I'm not doing it again.
That's great. You did.
They did. They tried. They got me to play for the what do you call the Belfast?
Probably the Bruins at the time. Yeah. No hitting.
They got me to play for the Belfast.
Did you absolutely clean somebody out?
Nearly killed a child.
15-year-old kid. He was in the way. Listen, I've always said I don't care what. If you're wearing a different colored shirt, you're getting emptied. And I absolutely. And listen, it was a good hit. It was a really, really good hit. My shoulder just caught him right in the middle of the chest, and he went down like Nelson.
That kid's 35 now and hasn't worked a day in his life.
Sorry. But literally, honestly, I nearly killed that kid. And I to this day, I'll still maintain the referee came over and he said, "What are you doing?" And I going, "What do you mean? What am I doing? That was a good hit." Yeah, but there's no contact. And I went, well, nobody told me.
Yeah.
Nobody genuinely did tell me I wasn't allowed. If somebody told me I'm not allowed to hit, I wouldn't have played. What's the point?
Well, what I'm saying is, mate, is that if you do go down there, don't hit any of the women who are skating around the boards. Just
want a different color top.
You know what I mean?
I want a different color jersey. I don't care. It's just in me.
Listen, Marty's down there at the Eddie Irvine Sports Rink doing in the rink there, doing a bit of exercise, getting on the skates and having a bit of fun. So if you want to pop down, looks like a Monday from between 7 and 8, go and give him a shout, get involved, do a bit of exercise on skates and enjoy yourself. Any other business, boys, from you gents?
No, literally, you touched on the boxy raffle there again. Just massive thank you to everybody who contributed and put their hard-earned cash into the banner raffle ticket for it. Congratulations to the winner, and it's fantastic. That again, hockey fans are just the best in the world at sport. I don't care what team you support; they are just fantastic.
Mr. McJim, anything from you before we wrap it up?
Nah.
Nope. We're all done then. Like I say, 2 games this weekend, both the DSSE Arena. Guildford at home on Saturday, 7 p.m. Get yourself down there or catch it on Giants TV. Or you can go to you can go to the game against Manchester, 4 p.m. on Sunday at the Arena and on Giants TV. Big thank you to Kieran Long. Big thank you to Travis Brown for joining this week. Big thanks to you boys as always. And everybody who's been getting in touch and sending in messages. Thanks for tuning in, whether you're watching live or on demand. At AVFTB on Twitter is where you'll find us. Also on Facebook, Instagram, kingdomofthegiants.com, and all your good podcast providers. We'll be back next week with a bit more crack. Gentlemen, good to see you. And wherever you are this weekend, we hope you enjoy your hockey. We'll catch you here next time. One of you from the bridge.